Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo and it's always great to be on the show where we discuss all things books. We've got a very special guest author with us on this episode. She is a gender and development specialist. She is a feminist scholar and activist. She's a social entrepreneur and First Lady of Ekiti State. Well, you may want to say former First Lady, but once a First Lady, always a First Lady. She's intellectual, and it was a pleasure sitting down with her to discuss her latest book. Well, I won't tell you the name now, but you'll hear the name in a few seconds from now. Let's get to meet with her and then enjoy the conversation.
Bisi Adeleye-Fayemi is a former First Lady of Ekiti State. Adeleye-Fayemi is a feminist scholar and activist, gender and developmental specialist, social entrepreneur, policy advocate, and writer. She has a Bachelor of Arts and Masters of Arts in History from the University of Ife, Nigeria, now Obafemi Awolowo University. Adeleye-Fayemi further received an MA in Gender and Society 1992 from Middlesex University, UK. She is the founder of Above Whispers Media Foundation. Adeleye-Fayemi hosts Channels Book Club to discuss her latest book, Demand and Supply.
It's really nice to have you on Channels Book Club again.
Thank you. It's nice to be back here.
Thanks for hosting us. 7 years. Loud Whispers was 7 years ago when we interviewed you, right?
It was 2017.
Wow. In 10 years, you've done 5 books. Am I correct? Are there 5? You've written 5 books in 10 years.
It will be about that.
About that. Because I can see here, let me see here.
2 in 2013.
There is, where is your wrapper? That was in 2020.
Yes.
Loud Whispers 2017.
Yes.
Right? Then there is Speaking Above a Whisper.
That was 2013.
That's your
My autobiography.
Okay.
Yes.
2019. Okay,
2013.
2013, which you reproduced, I think, a few years
yes,
later.
Yes, I did, yes.
So you've done 5, and then there is a tray of low-cost beans. So you've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 10 years.
Yes.
So every 2 years you have a new book out. One
every 2-3 years.
Every 2 or 3 years. Yes. One interesting thing I've noticed about your books, they're all purple colored. Is there a reason for that?
Consistency. And purple is a color that I love. It speaks to my soul, to my spirit, gives me inspiration. So I like to stay on that track.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, you have a series of articles you've written over the last, I'm not sure how many years now.
Since 2016.
2016.
Yes, with the Above Whispers website, my Loud Whispers column, which I write every week.
So your books have been compilations of some of those articles and write-ups over time. What inspires you to write that much? Because I know it's not easy writing articles every week, every other week, consistently for almost 10 years right now.
Yes, it's not easy to write every week, but when I made that commitment in 2016, when I started the Above Whispers website, what I wanted to do was to see if I could make social media a space where people my age, especially women, would spend time thinking and reflecting about the things happening around them and about the things that we can do as middle-aged persons to address some of these issues. I believe that social media is not a space that should be ceded entirely to young people, to our children. It's a space for everyone. But we should all not be spending our time on social media, reading about the latest gossip or complaining about the latest things that have gone wrong with our country or that are not going well in our communities. As citizens, there are things that we can do. We can take action in whatever capacity we can. We are all parents or grandparents or community leaders, or we play roles in our religious communities. And so there is something that we can do to make change happen. Change doesn't happen simply because we have elected people to represent us. So the things I write about or I comment about are just to draw attention to some of the ways in which we can make observations about the things going on around us, and then how we can take action to ensure that there is change. And of course, there are things I'm extremely passionate about, like the rights of women, the rights of girls, and the opportunities that we need to create for those who are on the margins to feel included and to live to their full potential.
Interesting, very interesting. Okay, let's come to demand and supply, which is, of course, I've read your books before, but I think this particular one sort of like, perhaps more than the others, for some strange reasons, helped me to see you in a different light. So I've always known you to be a feminist activist and all that, but it seems as if your passion came out a little bit, stronger here in this book. Whether that is deliberate or not, whether you're even aware of that or not, I'm not sure, but it came at me, your passion for feminism, for your areas of interest in development and politics, came out a bit stronger here. Does that have to do with age? Are you conscious of that, or you're just hearing this for the first time?
I'm hearing this for the first time because when I write, I try to do so from a place of authenticity. I do not write for a living. I do not write to impress anyone. And of course, I have to be diplomatic and be, sometimes measured because of the political context in which I have to operate. But I believe, yes, age has a lot to do with it. You get to a certain age when you feel, yes, I've earned the right to be able to say things as they are and to speak my mind as a leader in my community, as a woman who has gone through many transitions. So yes, I think there are times when you can say things at this age that you might have been hesitant to say when you were younger. But I've also noticed that some things that I wrote years ago, and I've gone back, there's an essay in Demand and Supply, it's from a speech that I gave at the Beijing conference in 1995. And when I read that speech, I thought, but I could have given this speech today or yesterday. I could feel my passion, I could feel my sense of outrage, I could feel the same sense of humor. And I thought, Bisi, you are consistent, you haven't changed. So yes, there are things that will change and there are things that will remain the same. Now, I'd like to believe that my love for the work that I do around women's rights, feminist activism, demanding that women deserve better, demanding that our leaders can do better, I think those things will never change. Maybe the way I say them might change, but those things deep down, they will never change.
Okay, can you, let's go through this demand and supply in terms of understanding how the book is structured, the themes that you set out to highlight, and just generally introduce it to viewers. I noticed you have sections like feminist theory and activism, that's the first section, leadership, politics and society, social justice, sexual and gender-based violence, intergenerational issues, relationships, self-awareness, other observations, and of course, tribute. So I would like you to just briefly talk about what the viewer will find in this book.
Right. Before I do that, to put it in context, we began by talking about how the last time I was on this program, we were talking about Loud Whispers. Yeah. Loud Whispers was the first volume in my collection of essays, short stories, and poems. And so in some of the essays I have here, such as A Great Conversation, which is a kind of overview of an interview that I had with a couple of persons that one of my professors, Professor Toyin Falola, put together to interview for his program. And it was a really interesting conversation for me to be a part of, because it forced me to dig deep and think about why it is I do a lot of the things I do and how my thinking has changed over the years. So I believe that anyone who wants to know more about the way I think and what feminism means to me should read A Great Conversation in this book. And then, of course, there is Shalaye Olympics, which I felt to be a fun way of breaking down what feminism is and what it is not to a whole range of people. And the second section of the book, Leadership, Politics, and Society, is a compilation of entries around political engagement, my own experiences as a political spouse, as a political activist in my own right, and also as someone who has been involved in political strategizing, and also someone who just observes political actors and schemes and different political engagements around me. And then social justice, a lot of the things that a lot of us are concerned about in terms of what it means to ask for change, what it means to bring issues which are on the margins and to people's attention so that we can ensure that there's a change. So I address issues such as the fallout from the NSAS movement. Yeah. I raise issues around period poverty, what it means for poor girls in remote communities in our society to go through something that a lot of us don't really pay attention to, and what it means for a young girl to have to make a choice between buying sanitary protection and buying food to eat, and what that means, therefore, in terms of her vulnerability to sexual violence and exploitation. And then I decided this time, instead of lumping it under social justice, to have a separate section on sexual and gender-based violence, because I'd found myself writing a whole lot of articles and essays on sexual violence over the past couple of years, especially in light of how we had to do a lot of work around this issue during the COVID-19 pandemic. We were dealing with two pandemics at the same time, the COVID-19 pandemic as well as the sexual violence pandemic. And then a lot of the other things that you drew attention to, intergenerational issues. Yeah. I do a lot of work with young people. I give talks with them. I have a lot of conversations with them. And then, of course, general observations about the things happening around us in society. One of my favorite authors, Maya Angelou, always used to say, be present. And so I try to be as present as possible. And you can be present in so many different ways. I try to be present by listening, observing, and writing. And of course, the section on tributes, where I pay tribute to those who have left us and those who are still with us. Because I think it's important for us to celebrate the spirits that are around us and the spirits that are no longer with us, so that we understand what it means for us to still be here and to make the best use of our time possible.
Okay, let me take you through some of my favorite parts in this book, and then we'll land on my very favorite parts of your book. I liked the war on women. I liked the war on women. Your passion for the rights of women. I saw that here. Your intolerance for a number of things going on. I saw that here. I think that's why it stood out for me. Perhaps I should read a part of it I like, page 62, where you said, maybe it was your language here that caught me. I have news for those protecting the old order of explicit and implicit sexism. I have news, like warning. Nigerian women are no longer going to roll over and play dead. It is obvious there is a war going on for control of our bodies and minds. We all need to resist this, women and men alike. Both men and women are entitled to public space. This is the activist in you speaking, right?
Yes. Yes.
The warrior. For every girl out there hoping to be the next Tolulope, I pray that you earn those wings so you can fly. Of course, you had talked about Tolulope's passing away. I hope you have a father who can cheer you on and a mother who will not insist on you flying into some man's house first before you fly a plane. For every woman who aspires to greatness, I pray that you achieve your goal armed with good choices beyond the reach of those who have no business passing judgment on you but want to judge anyway. So I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Another one that I like, I like the one titled "Damn It." It's sad, but page 166. I know you've written these things a long time ago, so you might not even remember that. Remember
yes,
that. Damn it. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
About Vera Omozuwa,
Yes.
the 22-year-old microbiology student at the University of Benin who went to study in an empty church. From reports, it was not her first time of taking advantage of the peace and quiet to study there. She was found raped and murdered hours later in the one place that was meant to be a safe haven. You remember that piece a lot,
Of course,
right?
yes.
What kind of feelings, I mean, does this give you, even right now, even long after you've written it?
Still the same. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it.
Well, I also like the one you titled "The Online In-Laws." I love it. Okay, should we read a bit of that? Okay. The Online In-Laws. I don't know if you read it. I did. The story about how a woman could not get pregnant. She sought out her pastor for counseling. Ouch. He dropped his trousers for divine anointing of her womb. He instructed her to go straight home to her husband and get him to do the needful. God will complete his work. That is how baby one arrived. When it was time for a junior one, the enemy started to disturb the poor woman's womb again. Enter another round or rounds of divine anointing, sealed by the clueless husband. Bam! Baby two arrives. That's a naughty you writing this, right?
Yes, it is.
The story would have remained unknown, buried in the bottomless pit of unspoken secrets. The online in-laws were sitting in judgment of a case of a woman. Lots of humor in this.
Who had been defrauded by a pastor. They made the usual remarks about the misdeeds of some so-called men of God. Auntie Miracle Babies now comes and opens her mouth wide to tell of how her pastor made it possible for her to become a mother through special anointing.
Special indeed.
Even the unshockable online in-laws were scandalized. They made all kinds of unsavory comments. A common thread being something about one of the two participants firing blanks. Auntie, please. Otherwise, Uncle will hear and start looking for the nearest DNA lab.
Do you laugh when you write these things? Do you feel naughty?
I do, yes.
Okay. Now, I've got a few other ones I like, but I think my favorite, maybe you don't expect it to be my favorite, but it is my favorite actually, is a glossary of political terms.
Really?
Yes.
That's your favorite?
That's my favorite because it made me laugh so hard. Nigerian politics is so full of...
Page 101.
Yeah, page 101. Nigerian politics is so full of passion and energy and humor. And I saw all the humor in here. Did you mean this particular essay to be humorous? Did you mean it to be humorous? Or you were just... Did you mean it to be humorous? Did you intend it to be funny?
I meant it to be a number of things. I meant it to be as straightforward as possible. I meant it to be jargon-free, even though there was some jargon there, but I wanted to unpack the jargon. I wanted it to be as real as possible. And yes, with a sense of humor.
With a sense of humor. Okay.
Because politics is one of those areas where, you know, it's not black or white. There are always shades of gray. And 2 plus 2 is never 4. So you can't take yourself for anything too seriously.
So you wanted to get us to understand the realities of Nigerian politics?
Yes.
That's what you wanted to do here?
That's what I wanted to do here.
Please read with me.
Without sounding like an authority.
Without sounding like okay.
My own observations and experiences.
No holds barred. No holds barred. Yeah. No holds. Okay. I think viewers will get what I mean by no holds barred here, because
even here there are holds barred, and there are still some terms I didn't put out there. Nobody speaks with their mouth wide open in politics. Are you kidding me?
Okay, let's do this. Read this with me. So you attempt here to introduce us to certain terms. Not introduce us. We all know these expressions, but you sort of like explain each one of them and share your views, your thoughts on them. The first one is Godfather.
Yes.
Everybody talks about Godfathers in Nigerian politics. So let's read this together. Can you please read Godfather, what you wrote there? The Godfather is real.
The Godfather is real. He is not a myth. You will find people who tell you a Godfather is not necessary for you to succeed in politics. If you agree, you have failed already. You don't have to take my word for it. A Godfather doesn't have to be rich. Most of them are. Old, a lot of them are. Or very loud. The louder, the less effective. A Godfather is someone who gives the word and it gets passed down the value chain. You need to get on his radar, or on the radar of someone who knows him. The most important currency you need when you are relating with a Godfather is loyalty. Forget about how brilliant or competent you are. All those can be found elsewhere.
So you are saying straight off, without a Godfather, like the Americans will say, you ain't going nowhere.
Even in the United States, can you get anywhere without a Godfather or Godmother? So
anybody who says to you, you don't need a Godfather, is not being realistic.
They're not being realistic. But the thing is, it doesn't mean we can't demystify the meaning of the word or unpack it, or say, okay, can we have a kind of decentralization? No. So instead of one Godfather, we can have several Godfathers, or instead of having, and that's why I talk about a Godmother. Because we have godmothers too.
Yeah, that was the new one for me. Yeah.
Yes, we have godmothers too. And we are usually silent about that, or ignorant of the fact, or we just want to pretend as if that is not the case. And if that is not the case, we need to make it the case.
Okay, then stingy. That's a very interesting one. Yes, stingy is a political term. Hence, it deserves a place in this glossary. Facilitating a school for your community, providing a primary health care clinic, digging a borehole, or providing solar light are commendable things. You are still stingy. When you do all that, you are still stingy.
Yes.
So what makes you not to be stingy? What makes you not to be stingy then?
Okay, do you want to know how not to be stingy?
Yes, I do.
Forget the Bible verse about the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. Next time you do anything in your community, forget about being modest. Modesty is the downfall of the ambitious politician. Grab a microphone or megaphone and let the whole world know who was given what, where, when, and how. Until then, you are stingy.
Oh my, this is, you see why I love this, this essay. It's the best essay in this book. Erelu Bisi Adeleye-Fayemi, thank you so much for this time. It's been nice discussing with you. Your book, Demand and Supply, a collection of essays you've written over the years. Thank you very much for joining us on Channels Book Club.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was a very intellectual Erelu Bisi Adeleye-Fayemi. Well, you only need to sit down with her and then so much there. It was a pleasure discussing her book, Demand and Supply, with her. Lots of other books she's got, and she's still churning them out. Well, this is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumu. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.